goodest afternoon, Earthlings. I hope you're all doing well. Now, this is the update for the full moon coming up in the zodiacal house of Capricorn, second full moon. And we're going to be discussing today, it's a double up, so, oops, I might just have to change positions. We're going to be discussing my theory as well as the astrological things that we need to focus on. If I can get focused myself, it would be helpful. Because we're going through a very important time from now till November. Okay, so remembering we're in the year of the dragon. Now, I'm just going to share with you some things that I have found. I hope there's clarity in that. And oh, whoops a daisy. Let's just take that down as well. So we had the Mars-Uranus conjunction with Eagle, planet of people who it's a kind of a demon, I think it was, and it's supposed to make people angry and stuff. I don't really get it because as I'm going to speak with you today, the full moon is conjunct Osiris, and I think something else is happening. If you were a follower of, perhaps I've got this angle incorrect here. If you were a follower of Q, you would know that the C19 is a code word for, you're off to Gitmo kind of idea. And I'm noticing a lot of these different musicians, actors, and things like that seem to be either, there's like a lot who have died, and there's a lot going on right now, okay? So I'm just trying to keep you where my head is at. These were Vietnamese people, or American Vietnamese. I noticed the number 27, and I'm not sure, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if this is clarity on this for you guys, but the number 27, and anyway, so moving on. Now, what's happened is we've had that cyber, it's the World Economic Forum owns this company, okay? And the red bird of prey, the crowd name, and so it's owned by the World Economic Forum. Now, what I wanted to say is there's two things going on right now, and it's almost like when World War II was about to begin, they assassinated, oh my goodness, they assassinated the Austrian prince, and he was like getting into his carriage. Now, they always do these kind of things, and then they try to kill a lot of royalty. This is before World War II, or to start World War II. All over the place now, but I want to show you. So what actually happened was a lot of people who are all a part of NATO, New Zealand isn't a part of NATO, but for some reason our Prime Minister went off there because he wants us to be a part of NATO. It's the North Atlantic and we're Pacific. We're not the same. So anyway, he went there because, it's the big war meeting. Don't know if I'm allowed to say that word or not. I'd get in a lot of trouble. I really hope that there's clarity in this. So I will try to read you this story. So what actually happens, interestingly, which I didn't know until I was investigating, because the White House is locked down and there's a whole bunch of people in the White House are from all over the world, not Biden, who got locked down in Vegas. Well, he went to hospital with the C-19. So Xi Jinping perhaps had a stroke. And it is happening, all right? Everything is ON. Now, what I have here is Luxton's visit to the US comes a week after New Zealander Patricia Mackay, 68, died outside a mall, Newport Beach, California, during an attempted robbery, so saith. She was killed when she was hit by one of the alleged offender's cars while her husband, Doug Mackay, 69, had a gun held to his head. Doug Mackay was formerly the chair of the Bank of New Zealand board, and Luxton knew the couple well. Luxton is expected to meet with the US legislators in Washington, D.C., and the tragic and shocking circumstances around the Mackay's death will most certainly be raised with the Prime Minister. Okay, so we all know about this sacrificing that goes on, and it's awful to imagine that someone would sacrifice their friends' lives for power, to be in the corruption of power. So anyway, so I don't think there's anything funny now. Who remembers this guy? Who remembers this man? And here he is with his son. Not the actors that are in this position at the moment, but the originals themselves. Now, a long time ago, Russia came and had a meeting with Joe Biden when he was 29. And he's got a big smile on his face. But this one here, his eyes are downward. And the translator, he's looking very concerned. So, I think it was quite it was like, what the heck in the world? To the Russians, you know what I'm saying? He has a prominent feature. That, my dear, is his nose. And yes, indeed. So there's this comedian, and I've been watching him the last few days, and I swear he's the spitting image of the person who is playing the role of Build Back Better, it's, better than butter. So, injured but alive, shot 2 times at the Trump rally. This is a Marine. Now, this is very hard for you to see. But apparently, no, it's quite clear. It's the, hopefully I can get it. See this white? That, according to the official story, is a bullet atomizing. After it hit this man that I showed you, the bullet atomized. Well, I've never heard of such a thing in my life. Mind you, I'm not American, but I don't know if bullets do atomize unless they're made out of ice, or I'm not saying that they can't be. I think this is important for all of us because I notice a lot of people are weird lately. I think that when we have a lot of frustration around us, we need to find what is our talent. And it could be playing the guitar, it could be playing the drums, it could be drawing a picture, it could be sketching, it could be writing a poem, it could be making up a story. Whatever it is, when you're in that moment of intensity and frustration, you can feel that pressure just like this. That's when your emotional, that's when we control our emotionals. This is our boundaries, and this is to do with the full moon. So what we've got going on here is we've got our what we're doing is we are stabilizing our emotional things by creating these boundaries. Okay, we're on our plateau in the Capricorn season. We're building our fortress. Our fortress is all about boundaries. She was the Labour Prime Minister of New Zealand. You guys all know who she is. Now, the Corey who died, this is where he was on the stands, okay? But what I want you to notice is that vehicle. And so 2 got shot over here on the opposite side of Trump, and also another vehicle. So there's this economic forum book, and it had this picture, and so as we can see, I'll just pop it on the side clearly. Maybe drop it back. On the side, we recognize that we have Putin. Oh goodness, I'm touching the wrong thing. And we have Trump with a question mark on him. Is like, is he going to live or die? If he gets to live, we get peace. Okay, everybody's on the clock. And on the opposing side over here, we have Zelensky. And then, of course, this equals, bombs. And it's on the clock as well. Now, I was like, what? Who is that? But we all know who that is. Well, in fact, at first I didn't because I didn't realize that they were so important. But now I do. And they're in America at this time as well. Now, down the bottom down here, we've got our sort of like our world power going on. So let's go over here. And this one is Xi Jinping, I imagine. I don't know who that one is. He's a world leader, and I wonder if it's like Polish or something, but I'm not sure. To be sure, I do not know. Anyway, oopsie. And then a little, one last reminder for you all. Okay. Now, I had this dream, and there was a lot of black and yellow going on in this dream. It was a parade, and so it's Poland. Is this coming in clear? Is this coming in with some clarity? But I also found this. And I'm gonna still keep working with this dream. Also, I'm not gonna show you where it is, and I'm not gonna put it onto my videos at all. But the Illuminati released another sort of like, it's got lots of codes in it, and it's one of those programming. It's an activator for the sleeper cells, and it had lots of numerical codes in it. And anyway, I hope that's clear, because that's a boy and a girl going through time. And the code drops, and those will activate different people. Now, it's went back to 1992 this time. Or was it earlier? I can't remember. I think it was 1992. So a lot of people watched a lot of TV programs, and they were programmed as children, babies, this sort of thing like that. The programming went into their psyche at that time, and then now these codes have been like uploaded. Just sort of, they like come up and they flash kind of idea, and that if seen will activate those sleepers, and that's why we're going to have mayhem. So they've already been programmed, and it's just whether they get activated or not. Some people have a strong mind and can fight it, and some people do not. I lost my place. No, I didn't. So yes, and there was this image. Somebody made a meme of this. Hey, I know how it feels. And it is interesting that some of us get saved, some of us do not. But I also looked on my Q thing, and and I so want that bottom writing to be clear, the small writing. Okay. Now, obviously, that was a few days ago, and before. And anyway, so dreams are now fully controlled. I got the fright of my life, because I think it subconsciously did something to my mind, and that's why I had this really weird dream. So these are remote viewer guys, and they're saying that there has to be more than one shooter. And remember, I showed you those vehicles. Whoops. So avid Trump supporter, avid supporter, okay? So already it doesn't make sense, does it? Because it's a supporter. So this was also found, well, it wasn't found, but this is witnessed. And when I was telling you a story about the motorbike and the yellow flag, there we have the motorbike. It's still there, and these are the doors that the motorbike person went into, which apparently, oh gosh, what's happened here? Oh, it's they highlighted the motorbike and it's bright on my screen. So that's the building with the roof on it that had the ladder on it. Apparently it's owned by BlackRock. Now, another really important thing to consider is that I'll just drop it down. And I hope you can read this. Okay, so luckily we have some other investigators, which of course I'm very happy about this kind of thing. And this is official. This is a report. A journalist. I wish I could make this bigger. Oh goodness, is it going to be clear? I'll read it. After the Trump assassination attempt, many are saying violence against politicians is wrong, and you are correct. So let us take a moment to remember the political assassinations perpetuated or facilitated by the US government. And I mean, that's hardly anything at all, is it? There's way. Now, let me see what I have for us. So, boundaries. Okay, what we've got here. What do I need in my life so that I can be a patient partner or a patient person? This is my boundary. And of course, I like to. I'm an artist, so if I can touch a pencil and a piece of paper, I can draw, I can write, I can do something. I can click out of this reality and go into the inner realm. What do I need for myself so I can give 100% to others in the abundance mindset naturally? You see? So I give to myself, which is I go into my realm where I can, say draw a picture of a flower, and I've like tweaked out of this reality and tuned into another. Now, so in my mind, what I'm doing through the outpouring of this full moon, where a lot of seeds are planted, the seeds from the Cancer new moon are implanted through my intention. Now, I was thinking, what do I want? If I was living on the plateau, what am I going to need? Well, I'm going to need food and water. So I wrote plant trees, fruits, good, abundant, gratitude, genuine, coming from a place already having abundance, cultivating thankfulness. So my realm in here, my plateau, I've got some good fruits growing, and one tree can get, like, say, let's just say 50. Okay, I know it's a small amount, but let's just say 50. So I can't nurture myself on 50. I'm just going to end up with diarrhea. I'll end up with the shits. I have to share. So I take as much as I need, and then with my excess I give, because I'm full and I have enough to give. So that cultivates more thankfulness. That gives me, I'm genuinely grateful, and I'm able to give more. I don't need to hoard it. So I don't have the scarcity mindset, which is like, hey, that's my tree. You can't come into my yard and touch my tree. And then all that food just drops to the ground and rots. There's none of that going on. So the more generous we feel, the more meaningful our life becomes. The more meaningful life feels, the more generous we become, because we love it. So we've got like this reciprocal kind of thing going down. Now, two things that I want to come across with this full moon. Status is a game of power and influence within the system of scarcity. It's a competition, win or lose. And it has titles, etc., to feel like approval, and base worth upon it, like fame, celebrity, notoriety. Excuse me, I just burped then. So it's like the gold star game of scarcity, social hierarchy, more or less than the fickle status of a marriage partner. Oh yes, I'm married to Lord you know, Pooh the third Esquire. And then they don't love you at all, treat you like, dirt on the bottom of their shoe, and go and, have affairs with somebody else, and because, they don't care about your feelings. Anyway, abundance, on the other sort of like flip side of this status. Abundance is the true wealth. So wealth is plenty of vitality, connections, warmth, water, clothes, money, chickens, friends, pets. Don't ask me what I was thinking. But I was like, okay, you've got a chicken and a rooster. They have some eggs. You eat one, but you save some babies, or you save some eggs, and then you've got babies. And then the babies grow and you've got more chickens, and then you've got more eggs. And, this is what I'm sort of trying to get across. So we do work that really matters. I'm playing my own game, no one else's. So, so my job is, I'm a painter decorator. That's my trade, and sometimes I won't play the game. And when it comes down to ticks and tacks, I'm certainly not going to be controlled by anyone else. I literally will not. And I was talking to my friend about it, and he was like, it's a dog-eat-dog world, and I'm tired of hearing people say it, and I'm not playing in the dog-eat-dog world, so that's not my world. And if you're going to be in the dog-eat-dog world, then you're not in my reality, and I'm not going to step into yours. And if I do step into yours, I'll be quickly stepping right out of it. So I play my own game. People say they're staying in their own lane. Well, I'm making up my own game. It's my life, my experience, and I certainly aren't going to be dominated by another person, because they did that to me last time. This is my second Saturn return. My second return. So you know, I was born, Saturn was there, and it was like blah blah, and I was like, whoa. And then I had my first Saturn return, which I was unconscious of the fact that it was a Saturn return. But this is my second, so I'm like, hey, I know the games they play, and I know what I want to be involved with and what I do not want to be involved with. Now, wealth motivation has many ways to win the goal and many paths to success. The shift from status to wealth orientation defines success for oneself without external markers. What would I have? How would it feel? How would I spend my time? What does my success feel like? The more I have, the more I can share. When you win, I win, and we all win. Now, so I had the dream. Oh, a scary dream. So, there was that Q post, and it was like, that said that it controlled our dreams. It said, dreams are now fully controlled. You are not ready for what's coming next. It's over. Okay, so I photographed that onto my phone as a screenshot, and but it must have affected my psyche a little bit, and because I'd already had the dream of where I had the little kitten, and this machine thing had like grabbed the vehicle and tipped it, and I was like this, and then it put it back down, and I was in this parade thing. But I was in the passenger. I was in the back of the vehicle. Anyway, the dream. I dreamed I lived in a rectangle box house with a ranch slider and a porch all down one side with a veranda. And my youngest was a child, and she went out to play on her skateboard, and she pulled the ranch slider wide open, and I didn't mind. But at some point, I was just drifting off on the couch, and I hear music, and it was two boys. They looked like sim characters, you know, like something was weird about them. Their eyes, they were sort of robotish. They were on push bikes, and they had like this music playing, and they rode up the decking steps to ride their bikes inside the house, and it was very scary. And I got to the ranch slider, and I shut it, and I locked it just in time, and then they biked around and around the house, and they were looking for another way in. They were still robotic, so I shut all the windows and the curtains, and then they left. And when my child came home, I was frightened, and I told her we couldn't go outside anymore for a while. My other kids were in the dream, but I can't remember a lot of it. I got a huge fright in the dream. My solar plexus is still on high alert panic mode. So when I woke up, boop, 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 boop. So a part of me felt like I had just avoided danger by like shutting down the curtains and the windows and stuff like that. Windows. Wearing your sunglasses, okay? My next goal in the dream is protection and safety boundaries. So, my next goal because of the dream, okay? So, what have I got here? So I'm going to talk about Osiris now and what I've written. So full moon, second full moon in Capricorn, we have Osiris conjunct the full moon, which he's RX, so he's going retrograde. So Osiris, he actually does the figure 8. Now I don't know how to do this on here. If I can make it into an 8. I don't. No, so it looks like a sort of an S. I can't do it. Maybe like this. So they do like this, okay? So, you know, going along the astrological house, and hello, I'm going to go retrograde. And then I'm going to go on forward motion. So they're doing this all the time. Every single star does it. As it goes around the zodiacal houses. And I see it. like this. Remember the liberation. Now, it is truly the end of an era. We feel the urgency to get our boundaries strong and stable. That is myself and a lot of others, okay? Restructuring where necessary, fortifying where necessary, the stronghold of our sanctuary, where our talent we work on, that gift of transcendence out of the mundane and into the wow factor. You know, when you're like, boop, 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 on the guitar, and then you're like, oh, way, I just made this new tune. Bang. You know, where you just start singing about, you know, we shall not be moved. You know, it's something that you're feeling and you bring it out in an expression. You're like, whoa, I've created a new song. Okay, so talent. Okay, this is what I've got. Grace under fire. Appraising each challenge, its worth, its value, its quality. Its worth we assess in the field of ideas, concepts, carefully before acting. Its value we estimate. We have a challenge, we estimate the value of the challenge. We have a challenge, we're like, we assess the worth of the challenge. Is this worth putting my energy into? Or nah? And each challenge we appraise. So in its quality, we rate its quality. We're like, is this a quality that I need to deal with or I need to, do anything about? We rate it. We express our critique and our critical judgment. This is through the outpour. So just 2 weeks. This is fortifying our boundaries. Remembering this year we're making our dam, our dragon. Year we are making our dam. Our dam is for the reservoir. The reservoir is the holder. The dam is the container, but the reservoir is what is in it. Yeah. We estimate the extent of the significance of the challenge, each challenge. We take a natural guess without measuring, counting, or testing it out to determine its relative worth. We have a notion, an impression, a belief. Now, Osiris is Lord of the underworld, the hereafter, and judge of the dead to the afterlife realm. Osiris is connected with the rule of truth, the ideal of natural order. Now, the story of Osiris and his death is that Seth, from Bible fame, Adam and Eve's third son, literally was so jealous of that man, and of course because he comes from that gene splice, which was Adam got spliced from male into female and then mated with his own flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood, bone of my bone, and created these Cain, Abel, and Seth. Now, Abel was a murderer from the start because he slaughtered the sheep. Right, so he killed and the sheep's blood fell to the ground. Now, Cain became he was like a cold-blooded murderer, just like felt nothing, did it? Whereas Cain was a hot-blooded murderer. He felt anger and he killed out of anger. And then Seth, I really don't know. First of all, he poisoned Osiris, put him into a coffin of lead and things like that. He's just literally a psychopath. They're all psychopaths, but he's so cruel. Now, what I have written here is Seth is connected to the lie, violence, and chaos. Thus, the slaying of Osiris signifies the struggle between disorder and order. The pyramid texts say that Seth is taking revenge for a kick Osiris gave him. The late period texts say that Set is hateful because Osiris had sex with Nephesis. Nephesis. Now, in the New Kingdom, the text says that Seth was like a wild animal when he killed Osiris. That's when he chopped him up. Okay, so Osiris was the first mummy, as Anubis used all his efforts to prevent and reverse the decay of his body. They tried every magic. Isis and Anubis tried every form that they could think of. Embalming his body, lovingly stitching him back together, wrapping him in bandages, but his soul has left his mortal body and his spirit is now in the Duat. Now I want to show you the symbol of that because it is very important. And there it is there. And that is Osiris's Duat symbol. So here's a star. His heart is. Now, the life after death. Osiris, Anubis, Thos, Horus the Great, Hathor, and Ma'at, which is, I think, Thai Ma'at, all appear to the dead as our spirit. When we die, our spirit has to take this journey, and it makes its way past monsters to the judgment. The spirit can use its tomb as it travels back and forth from the Duat. The hereafter. The hereafter has 12 regions, fields, levels. So Osiris is in the field of offerings. He dwells in the field of offerings. So we're born on earth into the experience for a lifetime with our new everlasting spirit that our soul dreamed up in the blue sky of day for our reincarnation. And we live through the experience to our time limit for the duration of our time here, or our spirits everlasting. So it's here all the time, but our body has a small duration. And while we're in the experience, we are meeting fate after fate. Fate always crosses your path, and you have to make a decision. Am I going to go back into this fated thing again? Do I have to learn for the 10th time how I'm going to be treated in this way, no matter what I did before? Okay, think about it and make a different choice, no matter how much you love them. It is so important. Meeting fate after fate, because our soul has to clear the records. Now our soul is imprinted with all the records of everything that made an impression, and usually they are things that hurt our feelings, or we had a need that wasn't met. Could be as simple as we were starved. Okay, so as you can hear, there's a master rotary here. Now, only the pure of heart enter the celestial realm. And now this is interesting because Lilith is a star, so she must have been pure of heart, even though she is the mother of the first giant. She had the first child, And also she is the queen of the jinn, the genie, which are the demons, and they're possessive, and they are all about possessions. And you can sort of be like, the genie is like the genius, and if you want an object or you want to objectify a person, this kind of stuff. Okay, now we have here, the ba is the bird soul body, the personality. The ka is the spirit essence, the vital essence, the breath. To become a living soul, the ka comes into the body. But we have sa, which is our spiritual body. We have ib, which is our heart. We have shuit, a shadow, two-dimensional body. We have sikum, which is our power form in our life force. We have kit, which is our physical body. We have ren, which is our name identity. That's our spiritual. That's for our. Well, it's physical as well, because we've got our physical body name too. And so then in my afterlife, of course, I'm called Janice as well. But I do have other names. So I'm called my spiritual name in the afterlife too. Now, Ankh, A-K-H, is my light body, my magic body, my intellect. So, now Isis made the Book of Breathings, and I must look that up. And it's written in something to do with her, when her and Anubis was trying to bring Osiris, after he was chopped into pieces, back into his body. They were trying to bring his soul back into his body, you see. She didn't want him to go. Okay, so I found that written in the tomb of Nekhen, 500 BC, 3500 BC, or 3002, between the time period of 3500, 3200 BC, they found this tomb. That's how old it is. It is the oldest tomb, with painted decoration and a mural on its plaster walls. And I'm going to put it into the comment section, because the relativeness to Horus, the son of Osiris and Isis, is quite striking. Now, I do want to say that it is a lie that that Isis climbed onto her dead love and tried to conceive a child with a golden penis. It's just a lie. Okay, so what actually happened was, when they were in Phoenicia and she was using the wings to push out the lead breath and give him the sea breath, she worked really, really hard to get because he was stuck inside a coffin. He breathed a lot of lead poisoning into his body, and then she hid him in the reeds. So she was living on the delta at the mouth of the Nile, in the reeds where the big blue lotus lilies grew, and she had Osiris there, and she was healing him. And then she conceived. So she conceived when they were living there, and that is their place. Now, what happened was, Osiris was getting better while he was living out there, and one evening, he went for a walk, and happened that Seth was out to hunt, because he's a killer. So Seth was out hunting. He was hunting, when he had a bloodlust, and he was like, "What the actual? That is not Osiris, is it?" And he watched, and he was like, "It is," and flipped out. chased him down, hacked him to pieces. Now, back to the tomb of Nick Hen, oldest known tomb with the painted decoration on the mural. Now it says here, written on the walls, your life is happening again. Without your Ba, which is our soul body, personality, being kept away from your divine body. So the divine body, I believe, is this divination, divine, comes from the stars, cosmos. But I don't know about these old guys. Like our physical body has divinity in it as well, because most magical place is the place of manifestation. This is why we like to be here on earth. Now, with your Ba being together with the Aka, light body, magic body, intellect, you shall emerge each day and return each evening. A lamp will be lit for you in the night until the sunlight shines forth on your breast. You shall be told, welcome, welcome into the house of the living. It made me think of The Living Dead, not this horror movie that Hollywood's got. But The Living Dead is the spiritual realm which we are completely surrounded in, okay? It is what we call the fifth dimension. Some people are able to tune into it or channel or do different things, all right? Now, deceased means recently dead. Departure is another word used when speaking of the recent death of the mortal body. Janice. Now my name, by the way, hi, my name's Janice, and we say Janice because we're English, but it is actually honest, so I'm very privileged to be able to know how to say my name if I was Persian or Egyptian, so I've learned that as well. But anyway, you have not gone away dead, but alive. Now this was in a pyramid text. So it says here, I've written, invisible but with immense power, the deceased can be communicated with. Tombs had false doors, a narrow doorway with inscribed door jambs, and surmounted by a lintel. The wall is painted with a table of foods and offerings, breads and wines, everything a soul would need, even family members, can be immortalized, both men and women, shown in the prime of their life. Magical offerings, the false door, being the passageway for the deceased to leave the afterlife and visit their tomb, which I found exceedingly interesting. Soul houses. So things Egyptians used to do, they used to make soul houses, a cute little house, looks like a little fairy house, for their ancestor to visit. And they used to put little bits of food there, all sorts of things like this, and that was, a lot of souls come and visit me, and, their orb we're talking about in that situation. So, also something that I never knew, and I'm like, wow, I love it, and that is letters to the dead. So we can write a letter to the dead, our ancestor, in the sense of not our spiritual ancestor, being that our spiritual ancestor is a past life that our soul has lived, but our physical ancestor, like my granddad or my great-granddad or my uncle, or just this sort of one. But it says here that we can place in the container a letter and we can put it on their grave. and we can ask them to stand guard for us. And yeah, for anyone that's trying to harm you, we can send them a little letter and put it at their grave. And of course, all spirits love to be useful, and they aren't all at all malicious and things like that. So, you know, we've been taught a lot of lies, and mostly through religion, that they've been trying to school everybody in. But let us be very careful, because America's going through some religious thing big time at the moment, and I'm not too sure about the outcome of all this. But trust your intuition, trust your gut, trust your instinct. And when a person tells you to do something, you know, like, well, if you want to live here, you're going to go and you have to go and have sex and make some money, which I just read a story about. Otherwise, you're not coming back into the house. You've got to start bringing in some money. You might as well go off and have sex, and that money can pay your debt, kind of idea. Take your chances of getting the heck away. Even if you say, I'll go, just say that. Make your word only mean what you mean. Let them interpret that however they want, but get out. Do not let anyone manipulate you, control you, coerce you. Don't believe their stories and feel sorry for them. And even if their story is true, at this time, in reality, our only job is to look after number one. And that is our primary concern. And look, in saying that, I do, I do look after people all the time, and I've done it all my life. I'm not going to change. It's what I do. So, but I want you to know that your talents, your gifts, what is in you, that you're God-given, you were given your talents and your gifts. You must resource them and pull them out from you and get into them and formulate your life with them, and then you can do everything you want. But you first, okay? It's your experience, and as much as you want to save the world, we can only do it when our energetic field has expanded wide enough to be able to influence, overlay on top of the matrix, on top of the simulation, big things, okay? And I have faith in you. All right. Oh, yeah, Neptune is at the 29th degree, and it's just, that's the analytic, the strength as well. And it's turning RX as well, which is like powerful, very powerful pull there. So that's, our faith is in the house of Pisces, and I have faith that we're going to make it through this, and I believe, Sagittarius, that we're all going to come into a new understanding of what is reality. Now, ka kite, much love to everyone, and probably talk to you again within the next couple of weeks, remembering we've got some difficult matrix situation that we're going to have to endure all the way through to November, at least November. So that's either the 5th or the 14th. We won't sort of specify a date yet, but while we've got the opportunity, save some food, save some cash, put some extra petrol in some cans, and just have it around, and just sort of like prepare while you've got it. So sort of do these things that you need. You know, do you need blankies? Get some blankies. And do you have a sort of like a, you know, a sort of a escape plan or a safe thing? Do you need a tent? Just just sort of like wisely get some things together that you think that you might need, and and let us all be ready for it. Whatever they, you know, bring on. We'll be like, bring it. Okay, I love you. Bye.